couldn't believe it. Subject of the email, Remarkable Insights podcast brief. Body, we've included a list of deliverables as well as the tasks that we were hoping would be managed by an external, experienced podcast producer like yourself. That said, we're absolutely open to your suggestions regarding the best way we could work together to bring this podcast to life. I scrolled right down to the bottom, ignoring any and all work expectations, asset delivery timelines, pre-production, post-production, till I got to near the end of the email. Budget. The lights went off in my head. There was a market for bringing other people's podcasts to life and making them accessible for all. This is Session in Progress. Here's how that email hit my inbox from the person who sent it. Host of Remarkable Insights and marketing manager at Remarkable, Viv Mullen.
Hi Angus, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I've said Remarkable Insights, I think twice on the podcast up until this episode, but for people who have no context because I gave none, what is Remarkable Insights?
We're a range of programs that support disability tech startups and also innovators and entrepreneurs working in the disability tech space. So this is our way of creating a conversation that is more accessible and just a whole lot more conversational, so people feel like they have a place they can go to learn about it. So it tries to just like break down a barrier where people feel like they can come as they are and just learn in a really sort of friendly and comfortable environment.
How did you find me? Because my website, I don't even know what my website looked like. I actually went back to, and I read out our first email that we sent together.
Oh no.
It was the old logo that I designed on a notepad. The website must have existed in some form. I'd never even heard of the word or the acronym SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. So Google didn't give a crap about me. I wasn't advertising. I had nothing going on. How did you find me?
I mean, I got to be honest, Angus, I'm going to burst your bubble. I didn't. It was my boss that found you. And then I realized I did know you because I'd heard of Listenable. And I didn't know that you had a podcast production company. I was in the process of looking for someone to help me make a podcast because I had never done it before. I'm very much a visual person, so audio learning isn't really my shtick. It was just like a really cool moment where I acknowledged that although you're not someone that identifies as living with a disability, you're really passionate about the space. And it was something that I hadn't found in my search for a podcast producer to team up with.
Our first season, looking and listening back, I mean, it's quite funny. I mean, I know it was a paid spot, but just to see the growth of yourself, the podcast itself, and the production from our end. But how do you see it? From our first season, where we're now working on our third, which is out later this year. So how have you seen that transformation between the 3 seasons with us? We
really quickly learned that it wasn't just like a community engagement thing. Over the seasons, we've realized the podcast exists as a really great way to network with people that we wouldn't otherwise be able to really engage with in a way that they would want to engage back in some ways. You know, we've had like these amazing opportunities, which when they happened, I was sure I was being it was just junk mail, that when being able to get Vince Cerf on the show was incredible. And something that we were all just a bit, shocked by, because we thought, wow, like this is a really cool vehicle to engage people that we just adore and idolize, and then let them know about work that they in return go, what you're doing is really cool. And then it's a networking opportunity. And that's become one of the biggest objectives of what the podcast is it's a way to broaden our audience and then also network with people that we otherwise probably wouldn't be able to as easily.
It's been really interesting to watch you guys network, as you said, do events over in America, and these people are coming to them because that wedge in the door was that email about sharing their story on a podcast, and the opportunities have become so much more from it. So it's one of the great things. When I say to a potential client, I say, what's your KPIs? And they'll be like, downloads. We want a huge audience. And I'm like, well, what about the quality of the audience, for one? And the other one is, who can we reach out to that you would never get time with, that makes this experience worthwhile if that moment happens? And that's because of this podcast. And I feel like every season we keep doing that. And it's so exciting to sit on the other side of the camera and watch you interview them so well, because so much research does go into it and you do an amazing job. I do mean this, and you'll hear it in the podcast. That email and our relationship and you asking me to create that podcast changed our whole business going forward. So at a time it really did need to find its next tier. So a huge thanks to you, Viv, and Pete, and the remarkable team. Thanks for coming on my little podcast as well.
Thanks for having me, Angus. And whether you like it or not, you've got a friend for life. So you're stuck with me.
That email changed everything. And I knew exactly where I was going to spend that money. On the next episode of Session in Progress, Amelia Stamos, our first hire. Am I a good boss?
Yes. Do you want more? We don't have H&R except for your mum.
Yeah, my mum is HR. We don't have HR. That's true. Well, you're not fired this week. Episodes are dropping every week till we catch up till today. If you liked this episode, give our new podcast page a follow. I don't know if we can still say new. Give our podcast page a follow. It's been up for over a month now. At session dot, and not DOT, like a full stop, in full stop progress. Hopefully you follow us, hit us in the DMs, and let's talk podcasts.